So in this video, I invite you to explore with me what is the origin of the slang term woke. What is the origin of this slang term woke? So if you go back into the 1400s in Old English, it basically referred to being weak or not having much value or account. Into the 1800s, woke meant not being asleep. So in Old English, it just has a connotation of a physical state, such as being weak in the 1400s. Then in the 1800s, not being asleep. Now it's picked up in the African American vernacular English. That's the proper term for it. And Marcus Garvey, who is a Jamaican activist, began to use the slogan, "Wake up Ethiopia, wake up Africa." Now he was a black separatist, meaning that he wasn't in favor of integration, and he was advocating for the black diaspora, the ones scattered from Africa, to return back to Africa. And that was Marcus Garvey. Later on, there will be the Black Rastafarian movement that saw Haile Selassie, the emperor of Ethiopia, as a messiah, and they promoted going back to Africa. So this is picked up later in a play in 1972 by Barry Beckman. His play is called Garvey Lives. And in that play in 1972, one of the characters says, "I've been sleeping all my life, and now that Mr. Garvey done woke me up, I'm gonna stay woke. I'm gonna help him wake up other black folk." Now that was the play in 1972, but it was quoting Marcus Garvey. Now where things get a little more associated with political events is in 1938, Leadbelly, who is Huddle Ledbetter. Now he was a blues singer, and his song was Scottsboro Boys. It was about a 1931 case in Alabama of 9 black teenagers accused of raping 2 white women. Now, of course, it was all made up charges. There was no truth whatsoever to it. I think it's associated with riding on a train, that at the time there was a movement to try to segregate train ridings. But if you remember history, Plessy versus Ferguson case in the Supreme Court helped to break up that idea. So I think it was more about that they wanted to try to keep the railroad cars segregated. But I'm not too sure. But anyhow, Leadbelly in 1938, that is Huddle Ledbetter, who lived from 1888 to 1949, had a song called Scottsboro Boys. Now, Leadbelly, or the singer that we know that sang the song, was actually convicted of murder. He murdered a relative, and he was in prison for about 7 years, released, and then he was back to prison later for attempted homicide. He was in and out of prison, the author of the song, but he was called the king of the 12-string guitar. Now, at this particular time in history, folks are trying to record some of the music that's going on at the time, and Leadbelly is selected to be part of those recordings for archiving music at the time. And he records his song Scottsboro Boys. Now, the song doesn't contain any lyrics about woke, but on a recording, he makes a comment because the song was about injustice in Alabama in 1931, and his comment is, "So I advise everyone, be a little careful when they go along through there. Best stay woke. Keep their eyes open." Now again, that was not in the song, but it was in a comment he made after he performed the song and was actually recorded for historical purposes. So for Leadbelly, the blues artist, it meant be aware of social injustice in 1938. Now this will be picked up around 1940 in West Virginia by coal miners, the black coal miners, and they are aware of discrimination in pay. And they will come out with a slogan, "We were asleep, but we will stay woke from now on." Now keep in mind, we're dealing with language, linguistics, words, and semantics. And all these things change over time. So you're looking at an evolution of the meaning of a word called woke. But for the most part, it is completely associated with black communities and black culture. So it had basically three components or three meanings in slang. First of all, being woke meant in black culture being aware of a romantic partner who is cheating. So that dimension is not talked about today, but if you're in a relationship and you're aware that your partner is cheating, you are woke. Now, of course, it has a politically charged aspect of social injustice. And later in 2017, there's a film called Get Out. And it's about racism in white suburbs. And that word is brought up in the song and in the theme of the movie. So that was emphasized in the media, the movie, in 2017. But it can just literally mean being awake, a physical state, and not being asleep. So you got the three usages there. Now a fourth usage is going to occur later, and hopefully I'll get to that in this video in regards to the church. Because remember, my channel is called Sermon Illustrations Channel, so you're expecting me to bring this to the church, and I will, by the way. Just give me a little bit of time here. So in 1962, there's an essay in the New York Times by William Melvin Kelly. He's based in Harlem, and he's a novelist. He says, "If you're woke, you dig it." Now he's talking about white culture wanting to adapt some of the slang from the black culture. And in particular, we're dealing with, at this time in 1962, the beatniks, which is the forerunner of your hippies. Okay? So the beatniks are trying to acquire some of the language of the black culture. And they will use the term woke as well. So there's a little bit of a crossover now from black culture into white culture in the 60s through the beatniks. So we have to get out of the 60s now and get into the year 2008. In the year 2008, a song comes out called Master Teacher by rhythm and blues artist Erykah Badu. And she says, I stay woke, meaning she's not placated, she's not anesthetized. And this will then get redeveloped in an updated song in reference to Russian feminist protesters. Now this brought the term woke into social media in around 2008, and that's where the term starts to explode. It's actually in social media the term will explode. And the next explosion of the term, this is a small explosion in 2008, not that significant, but the big explosion of the term will be in 2014 with the BLM, Black Lives Matter movement, and the protest in Ferguson, Missouri over the death of Michael Brown. And the theme will come up, Stay Woke. So it's a protest of social injustice, and in particular the whole situation that was in Missouri, Ferguson, Missouri, and so BLM will pretty much claim the term. And if you're hanging in there with me, I appreciate it. Now the Oxford Dictionary adds about 500 words, maybe 1,000 a year. I'm not sure of the exact number, it varies from year to year. But in 2017 they actually added the term woke to the Oxford English Dictionary as being aware of or well informed or politically progressive, or term for those seeking social justice. Now you have to understand that because the term is so charged with meaning that it goes on to a spectrum, a political spectrum on the left and then on the right. So those on the left use the term to say, I want social justice and equality, but those on the right see it as an intrusion. Now it has connotations. On the left it has a positive connotation, meaning it is associated with good feelings and good stuff. On the right it's got a negative connotation. So you have to be aware that words have denotative, literal meaning, and connotative meaning. So you've got all these words here, woke, wokeness, and even now woketopian. So let's get to how it gets to the church. Now, as you might be aware, there are two realms, the secular, the seclorum, this age, and the non-secular, or the sacred. The term woke, in terms of this age, means social awareness, political actions and ideologies centering on social injustice and trying to make things right. Now that term will move out of this realm and be try to be integrated into the sacred realm or the church realm. Now what happens is, as far as I can tell, These are all my own thoughts and my own research, by the way. Now, as far as I can tell, this term, woke, got associated with aggressive LGBT, homosexuals, lesbians, sex change, drag, same-sex marriage, and perversions and abominations. So the new woke campaign. So they're assigning a new meaning to it, a spiritual meaning. Okay, before it was pretty much in the secular realm. It was in this realm. But the term was picked up, and now with the aggressive movement attacking the institutional church. That's why I have those arrows there, because they're attacking the church, the holy ones, the sanctified ones. They are the new enlightened ones, okay? These ones who are saying that homosexuality is fine and it's not sinful, and promoting sex change operations, promoting men wearing women's clothing, drag and transvestites and all that. So the new woke is now the militant homosexuals and LGBT and so forth. So what happens is the secular unholy realm invades the holy realm, and the meaning of the term has now shifted to a spiritual dimension. And to be woke means that you now understand all these things that were considered in the Bible as very sinful are now acceptable. Not only are they acceptable, but they belong in the church. So you've got the clash of the unholy coming against the holy. So what is the result? As you might expect, and as you have seen, major splits. Result, splits of major denominations. The unholy, the sinful, can't dwell among the sanctified and holy ones or saints. So I tried to take this term woke for you in its historical context and bring it to your attention as it has now come at the Church of Jesus Christ, and thus causing major splits and separating the holy from the unholy. It's unfortunate. This is what has happened and is happening. But for those who are determined to remain the remnant or the holy, I commend you, because this completely is of the devil. It is spiritual warfare against the church, to take the church and make it into what Satan wants, so that eventually there will be a one world church, along with a one world government, along with a one world economy. And the new age, or the new seclorum, so the devil thinks will be under his control. But the truth is, Christ is coming, and when Christ comes, whatever has occurred on this earth will be completely undone by the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Thank you for watching. End of video.